I'll let you go first, man. What are your thoughts on the market?
Um, well, I mean, nothing has really changed, to be honest, from the last time that we went live. Let me pull up the Bitcoin chart right now. We're sitting at 62,230. So right now we found a pretty good support twice now on top of the 200 moving average. Last night I started a new challenge just for fun. Um,
Okay.
Basically, I have, and I'm not, BitUnex reached out to me and I never heard of them, and so they wanted to do an affiliation, and I used them for about 6 months before I was comfortable. So after they reached out to me, I used them for about 6 months before I was comfortable like talking about it. And
Okay.
once I felt comfortable talking about it, what I decided to do was do a challenge. Anything that I get from affiliations, we're gonna trade with that. And once we get above $500, we're going to buy Solnick with that, and then we're gonna burn it and donate half and burn half. Um,
Nice.
but last night, we started that challenge, and I went long. I was letting them vote on the leverage and even the coin, but what I wasn't letting them vote on was whether we were going long or short, because I was very confident that this was a local bottom. And
Nice.
one thing I am excited about is how quickly everyone has on Twitter sort of moved off the Uptober narrative, and that is it is came and went, and it is just as fast gone as it came in here. And one thing I would like to point, historically the I'll just pull this up real quick. Historically, October returns about 30% on average, right? And this data right here does not even include October of 2023, which it was about the same. It was about 30% again, October of
Yeah.
2023. But people have this kind of notion that just because we're in a bull time does not mean that it is up only, right? So how did we start off October of 23? Well, we started off with a nice little 8% correction, and we did not
Yep.
officially get out of this range until October the 16th. So, again, I would say, verily, verily, I say unto you, that we are right on schedule yet again. So, a couple of tests on the 200 starting off October, pretty bullish. I'm pretty confident by the end of October that we're going to be out of this range. You know that
Okay.
I have the macro bet before Christmas. Bitcoin needs to be above 80K at one point or another, or I have to shave the beard. Um, so and get a full
That's
body
right.
wax. So
Yeah. um. Yeah. So you brought up 2023. In 2020, it was actually on this day that Bitcoin, October 11th of 2020, that's when Bitcoin started rising. And, that was kind of an up only season with a few blips in between. I mean, the scariest time there, it wasn't really, it was just, I remember just feeling invincible at the time. Just like Bitcoin went from $10,000 to $42,000 in a little under 100 days. And the only time that was even mildly scary was around the time that it got rejected off of its 2017 peak. It went down to 17,000 something, down from 19 and change. And so October 11th was the start date. I'm not saying that now is the day for up only or anything like that, but I got some hate from somebody. I'm not even going to name him. He's just super obnoxious. But I got hate from this guy on October 2nd. He made a video calling me out for using the word Uptober, and it's like, come on, man. It's October 2nd, even October 11th. Now, yesterday felt psychologically very similar to the bottom in September. So I was fortunate enough to open a long. I had a Dogecoin limit order set, not a limit order, excuse me, a zone that I was looking to open a long, and it filled that zone perfectly. And now I'm just holding, and I'm good. And I thought about you yesterday because it's like, you know, you you tend to thrive in moments like what we saw yesterday. I saw people definitely, at least mentally, capitulating yesterday.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I would say that as far as like technical, when I when I earn my living is when people are freaking out, and I just try to be the voice of reason. I try to do it when we're pumping, but I think that I'm stronger suited towards just seeing fear, noticing fear, those type of things. I would say, like, you know, even on the 1 hour, this is like this looks like Wyckoff to me, even on like a small time frame. You know, breaking up
yeah,
to the upside here. I would like to see us get above. I think if we can get a body close above this, that would be a continuation of 64,000, and then the big one would be right here. This would be the big one to get above 66,000.
66.
Yeah, that would be like, it would be quick in my opinion, because people have this notion that it's just like it's been slow and boring and that's just how it's going to be, but you know, it's slow and boring until it's not. You
Yep.
know, until it's not. And we're very very quickly entering into the until it's not phase. You know, when we look back at the prior bear market, we were here for, I mean, how many
200
days?
days.
200 days, yeah. In
Yeah.
the same exact range. Mine says 500 if you count like
Okay.
all the
Yeah.
way back to you know, Luna, basically, if you say that that's still in the same range. But yeah, either way, 200, 500, it's boring, boring, boring until it's not. And I don't want to be like a FOMO guy. It's like you got to get in now or you're never going to be able to. But in reality, that's kind of how it works. Like, you do need to buy the blood, you do need to buy the fear, and especially the boringness, because 90% of the time it's just sideways and boring.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Man, I mean, no matter what comes after this, it's like, you know, I never changed my opinion. Now, the only thing that I could say that I've, what's the word, wavered on, is that I thought we would hit a $80,000 this month, you know, and that is certainly, we have 20 days left. That is certainly within the realm of possibility. That
Definitely.
is not, yeah. But I have wavered on that. I mean, the big thing that I'm saying now is like, all right, what's the worst month in Bitcoin's history in October, not including the bottom of the bear market years? So not including 2014, 2018, and 2022. The worst month was a 10% gain. So even a 10% gain, that puts us at $70,000. Now, we did have an exception with September. September, even though September kind of sucked, or it really sucked at the beginning, we had the best September ever. So do we have, aside from those bear markets, the worst October ever, where we only see like a 7% gain or something like that? I don't want to speculate. I just have a high conviction that we're going to close this month green. Now, I don't know if you've thought this through yet. I mean, that first week of November is going to be, there's three huge things going on. It's not just the election,
right. You got
but election. Well, you go ahead. I mean, what were you going to say?
Go ahead. You're the fundamental guy.
Yeah, election, unemployment report, and Fed meeting all in the same week. And then the last unemployment report had a record number of government jobs added, at least for September or maybe ever in that month, and a record number of seasonal jobs added in that month, which makes me a little suspicious of that unemployment report. So we'll see about the next one. But
Right. It's all kind of a fugazi a little bit, but yeah. To your point too, like, I want to touch on something you just brought up about, let's say it only does 10% and it only gets us to 70,000. That is such a huge technical level and
Yes.
psychological level that even if that were to be true, and I've been saying this for months, the difference between 70,000 and 80,000 is not going to be, in my opinion, it's not going to be 2-3 months. It's going to be 2 or 3 days. because
Maybe.
once you break out of a range, it tends to do so in a violent manner, in a quick and violent manner. So that to me is the next phase of this whole thing, and I would not have bet my beard if I did not believe it to be true. So
Yeah.
I'm quite
Hey,
fond. Go ahead.
a couple comments on my chat here. Is there a way for you to turn up the volume on your microphone?
For me,
Yeah.
yeah, I should be able to. Hold on.
I can hear you fine. I've gotten like 5 comments or so.
All right, what about now? Are we too loud on mine?
Some people say they can hear you fine. Others say raise your volume. I don't know. Or bring mic closer to face. I don't know, man.
All right.
Eduardo says same. Wise Word says louder, please.
All right, cool. What about now? Are we good? I turned it up like 50%, so should be good. Should be good now.
All right, we're just going to keep on going. Apologies for those who. Sam says a little better.
All right, cool. I'll talk a little louder. I'll bring the.
All right.
Someone says recommend the ETH 2x leverage. I don't recommend that. I'm not saying don't do it, but for me personally, the whole reason that I am in crypto is because I believe in self-custody, and I believe in being your own bank, and I believe in all of the core principles that brought me to cryptocurrency in the first place. So one thing that I'm highly, highly against is, I would not go to a silver shop. I collect silver. I buy silver, if it would focus, every single week, just like I buy gold, just like I buy Bitcoin every single week. And I would not go to the silver shop and say, "What's up, Jim? Nice to see you. I'm going to buy this," and just leave it here. See you next week. Bye-bye. I wouldn't do that. But that's what a lot of people do with crypto, and I believe in self-custody. And I would rather just own the crypto and be responsible for it and be a big boy or a big girl myself, just like I treat silver. So that's my thoughts.
You do some leverage trading, right? Or is that just?
I do leverage trading. That's right. But I think what he's talking about specifically is, yeah, we're long right now. I think what he's specifically talking about is the ETFs, and I'm not a huge.
Oh.
Yeah, I would rather just have it myself and be in charge of it myself. That's personal convictions. But you do as what they used to say in the Army, you do what your rank can handle. So
there we go. So Solnix had a good week.
Solnick has had a good week. And I think if I could, I'm going to compare this actually to Ethereum, because I think that is I actually really I shit on Ethereum all the time because I have personal vendetta, I guess, against Ethereum because I'm a miner, right? But actually fundamentally and technically I think it's going to perform well, but I don't. I'm rooting for someone to overtake it for a personal. But if I could just look at the Solnick chart here. This is literally, let's pull up Ethereum real quick, and then I'm going to show you what I'm talking about here. So, where are you? There you are. All right, Ethereum to me looks really good. So on the macro, you have your parabolic rise, your distribution, aka the top. You guys can't see this. Then your markdown, aka the bear market, your accumulation, aka the bottom, right? And the rules of Wyckoff state that it is clear and safe once you get out of this like sort of parallel downtrend. Once you clearly have exited out of that, it is safe to accumulate, right? So then you have your accumulation, you have your sign of strength, and for Ethereum, it actually got to the 618. Typically, your sign of strengths get to, the 236, somewhere in that range, and then we're having our back test of the prior range. So I actually think that Ethereum, even though I like jokingly kind of crap on it or whatever, I actually think it looks pretty good. And then when we zoom in to even the more micro, this to me looks like accumulation on the micro level within accumulation, right? So sign of strength sort of marks the end of accumulation. So let's show you that real quick. So this is like generally what we're talking about here on the oversimplified thing of what we're talking about. And what I'm talking about schematically, you can't see it. Let me do it like this so you can see it. There we go. What we're talking about schematically, so this is the schematics for the bottom. You have your markdown, selling climax, automatic rally, secondary test, and sometimes you get a spring, sometimes you don't. The sign of strength clearly marks that the bottom is in. And then you have a back test, which all Wyckoff really is just supply and demand plus the psychology of money. Your back test of the prior range, all that is the supply and demand saying, are we sure there is no more supply down here? And you get one more back test. To me, that's where Ethereum is right now. So you have your ginormous supply, sign of strength, back test of the prior range. The next macro phase after this is your mark up phase. And most of the market, by the way, looks like this. But I would just want to show you, start off with Ethereum to show you Solnic has the same exact chart, except I would argue it's further along in the accumulation. So you have your parabolic rise, your distribution, your markdown, reaccumulation, your sign of strength to the 618, just like Ethereum went to the 618. Then you have your back test of the prior range, reaccumulation within reaccumulation. And I would even say that it's pretty damn far in accumulation. I would say like all phases almost have been met. So you have your phase A has your selling climax, your automatic rally, your secondary test. I'll show you that. Phase A has your selling climax, your automatic rally, your secondary test. Then you have your phase B has your secondary test. And then phase C has your spring. Phase B has your secondary test. Phase C is your spring. Typically, the spring is maximum fear. The spring when Bitcoin in 2020 was C19. This is maximum fear. People are like ready to run for the hills. So that's what you have. And then directly after your selling climax, you have your sign of strength. And to me, that is what we are working on in the micro. And the macro move is phase E, which is what we call the bull run. And what I've been saying for months and months and months, the markup, bull run, same thing. Months and months and months. It will be everything, everywhere, all at one time. And so I think Solnic is ready to go. Looking very, very promising. This is like, let me know, by the way, and I'll say one more thing and I will quit hogging the mic here. Let me know of a, I like He as well. But outside of He and Solnic, let me know of a weekly chart, sub $10 million market cap that looks like that.
So I cannot legally give a price target for He. You can for Solnic, right? I mean, you just did a community takeover.
Right. I did not create Solnic.
Yeah. So, okay. Could you give what you think would be around a price target for Solnic, and then I'm just going to apply that to He, but I'm not going to say that because I can't.
Okay. So another bet that I have
in terms of X's. Yeah.
All right. Another bet that I have is by the end of the bull market, if Solnic does not reach $75 million market cap, I will also shave my beard. All
right. So 75 million. It's a little under 2 million right now, right?
That's right. So bare bones, That's my target. But I think that, and we've talked about this, you and I are going to be pushing, developing, whatever we can do, not only now into riding this wave that we're about to compass upon as the sun sort of rises and we start to feel the heat of the sun, aka Bitcoin, rising tides floats all ships. Not only are we going to ride that wave, but we're going to be grinding in the next bear market and the next bull market. So But that's my minimum target. I do think that we could get to 100 million, which would be about 10 cents. And I think that there's a possibility of us getting above a billion, which would be 1/13 of Shiba Inu's current market cap right now before the sun
That's
has
insane.
rose.
Yeah.
So,
And I was shaking my head. I wasn't saying no. I was saying I was just imagining what my 700. I don't remember how much I have, like $700 to $1,000 worth of Solnic. Nothing crazy. I have way more he since it's mine, and I just been buying and supporting the cause. But like picturing what that would look like, it's all right. So we're 75 million is shave your beard territory. That's 32, 33x from where it is right now. So I'm just going to apply that to he and toe the lines of legality, and there we go. 33x. That's what Devin is saying, not me. And I am done with that. I got a question here about do you have an ETH price target?
7,000 is my minimum target, and I think if it wants to go nuts, we could get into the euphoria would be like a 15,000. But if you don't have your limit orders, you're not going to get that.
Yeah.
But I think 7,000 to 10,000 is more reasonable.
Okay. All right. So, yeah, what?
Someone asked me to do he. I can do TA on he if you want.
Sure. Yeah.
Because I like their chart. I like your guys' chart as well.
Yeah, it's been doing well lately.
And I'm not legally bound to he. So
There
first
we
of
go.
all, on the weekly, like same thing. Like again, tell me a sub $10 million market cap coin that looks like Solnic and he on the weekly. I will wait. Most of them have this giant candle and then another giant red candle directly followed by, and then just nothing. Right. So this is on the weekly.
Yeah.
On the weekly, I think that this is clear accumulation that you're in, and you're working on your sign of strength on the macro. That's what I think. And then when we zoom into the on the daily, that's the same thing. Your markdown, your accumulation, and working on the sign of strength. Yeah, I mean, I think that minimum just on the next leg, right? So we could have multiple legs. So,
Yeah.
I think that just your parabolic is, upwards of 21 cents. I don't know what the market cap of that is, but
Maybe so a little under, like 160, I think, 160 million.
so there you go. Yeah, and that's a 30 something X. So there you go.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so funny. I mean, just as soon as I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same for Solnic. As soon as he pumped, it was hanging around a little under $1 million market cap for a really long time, and then as soon as it pumped, and now it's at 3 million, I think. The sentiment changed. It flipped so much. It was like, I hope this gets to $10 million. And now it's like $10 million is absolute FUD. And it is.
It is.
I mean, for both. It's absurd.
Yeah.
But,
No, I've said this 100 times. People always ask me, like, what about this, narrative, or what about this fundamental thing? And I'm like, all that stuff is great. To me, it's just a check mark of like, are you doing something? Great. If you are, then great. Other than that,
Yeah.
and I've said this 100 times, there is nothing like price that changes sentiment. People think it's the chicken comes before the egg, but I would say the price comes and then the narratives will show up. And that's just kind of how it is. Thank you for the roses. But okay, and I'll put it like this too, and I'm not crapping on this coin, but just an example of how strong our communities are, and I think that this applies for both of us. And by the way, quick side note, I am completely out on political coins in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, for sure. I've been saying the same thing.
Because I'm about to talk about MVP. Whatever
Okay.
MVP does in the next couple of weeks, whether I'm cutting losses or taking profits. I'm out all, but I'll hold like 20% just in case for an overtime of sorts, if you will, because I think there is
Yeah.
a chance that we go into like January not knowing who is in charge. But just for
Oh, please
reference,
no. Yeah.
just for reference, they have spent $1 million in marketing, and
Wow.
they have, their market cap is less than yours, and we're basically the same as ours. And I know neither one of us have spent anywhere close to that,
No.
if
I spent
anything.
like $25,000, and I'm tapped out. I can't without. Yeah, I'm 25,000. That's enough for me.
Right. Yeah, I haven't even spent that. So
Yeah.
nothing like a good, strong, organic community with a stoic leader will get the job done. So
It's one of those things. It's like we're tied to this enough that, if I launched a meme coin or did a community takeover of meme coin, and I was anonymous, nobody knew who I was, it's like maybe there's a point where it's just like you throw in the towel. But I knew this when he was launched. The thing that I didn't know was legal things, legal barriers that I had to just be careful not crossing those barriers. But like this was a bit of a for life thing that I wasn't going to. There was never going to be an option where I'm just like, I throw in the towel, I quit. It's too much. It's too stressful. And it got really stressful at times. It's a lot less stressful right now, thankfully, but it got really stressful. That's all because they know you with Solnick. They know me with he. And I tend to think that the ones like ours, aside from, just the anonymous ones, they could it could be over tomorrow for any of these.
Right.
For I have no idea if they're like, who's behind Popcat. I don't know. Maybe there's somebody behind Popcat, or Ponky. I think Ponky's going to be around for a while, maybe even next cycle. But
yeah, I mean, look at this real quick. I just want to show on the weekly, because the more you zoom out, the more of the actual picture I think that you get. But this is when I took over, was like here, somewhere in here. I don't remember. Yeah, January, February, somewhere in that time frame. And it's just higher highs, higher lows for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. This isn't like some, it's been 8 months now. I've given away $200,000 worth of Solnick at this point. And you know this too. It's like, I wouldn't have doxed myself, and we can make plenty of money just talking about it and just having our bags be sacrificial forever. So that's kind of the plan for me.
yeah,
I don't need to sell on my community that I spent literally thousands of hours making thousands of videos for over the course of the bear market, and just taking up all the goodwill that I built, for literally years. It's not worth it. So that's my thoughts.
Yeah.
Thank you for the team bracelet. Flux prediction. I like Flux. Flux is one of my favorite. I don't know.
Proof of work.
Medium. Yeah, I'm biased on the proof of work stuff. Medium cap, small cap. I don't know where you would put it, but I like Flux. I think it's about 13 cents. If I remember, let me pull it up real quick. I'm a fan of Flux though. Flux is. I just made a video, top 4 coins, but I did one at each market cap. Flux is on the not 13 cents. $13, and then I could see a scenario where it gets above the $21. But yeah, I'm a big fan of Flux. Same chart, by the way, as I'm looking for everything. This, if you just like take a snapshot in your head, you don't need to be a TA nerd like me. But if you could just see a big giant W or a big giant U, that's what you should be looking for, in my opinion. Because this tells you that. No worries.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
This tells you that a bottom is in.
Yeah. Somebody was asking for the contract address for Solnick, so I looked it up and shared it. But
XTZ9, last four.
XTZ9 and first three DEA.
Yeah, we're also on base, and we're also on
Avalanche.
Avalanche. That's right.
Yeah.
Yep, DEAKM, XTZ9. Yeah,
Yep.
but they don't exist, honestly. Like, name me a coin under, like, I'll wait. Name under 10 million that has a. This looks like, I don't want to be funny, but like, this kind of looks like Bitcoin in the beginning.
All right. Yeah.
I might be a little bit hyperbolic, but
I mean, yeah, it's not going. Solnick, sorry, I'm sorry to burst anyone's bubble. It's not going to $69,000 a coin or $73,000. I mean, you never know. Maybe bread will be worth $10,000 at the time.
Yeah, if that happens, I hope not actually, because that would mean a lot of Americans would be struggling for real. Where do you see Bitcoin going? Are we out of the dips? There's always going to be dips, but on the macro, I do think before October is up that we are going to be getting out of this range that we've been in for like 6+ months. I think that minimum will probably be at 70K, like Alex said, but I think there's a strong likelihood that my beard will be safe before even November is over.
Yeah.
Let's pull up Bitcoin.
Yeah, let's see. I'm looking through some comments here.
I mean, I like this too, where we're at. Just twice now. Yeah. Strong support on the 200 moving average. I don't want to see that get lost.
That's the EMA, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we have the go ahead.
So I just want to respond to a question about Avalanche. I've been paying a lot of attention just because I've noticed this. With a lot of altcoins right now, not all of them, but a decent amount, is I'll flip around between SMAs and EMAs, and a lot of altcoins are getting rejected as of right now at their 200-day SMA. So Avalanche, I have some concerns short term about the 200-day because it's pretty close. I mean, the 200-day SMA is at about $30 right now, and I think it'll struggle there a little bit and then break through. I would rather get in on Avalanche on the back test after breaking through. I will flip to EMAs.
So I have Avalanche's market cap right now. I like to look at market cap because I think that tells you the truth. They're like about
highly inflationary.
It's a little bit. They're about 2% from the EMA on the market cap. I will say, like in the macro, this is the same chart that I'm looking for. Period.
Okay.
So, and we put Solnick on Avalanche as a strategic move, because I do think that this is one of the bigger sort of layer ones, if you will, that's about to. In the next season, if you will. I'm not saying tomorrow, next week, next month.
Yeah.
But in the next season, that this is going to be one of the bigger ones that goes. So we put Solnick on base as a promise, like we said that we were going to do this because when we promised it, base was popping off. But we put Solnick on AVAX as a strategic move because in the macro, I think that the next macro move is your markup. So this is the same thing. Your accumulation, sign of strength, back test of the prior range. And I think that this is the selling climax within the accumulation, just like Ethereum. So right now, I mean, it is like higher highs, higher lows. It could easily get rejected off the 200, like you said, and back test. If you get any dips on any charts look like this, I don't care what it is, like LCX, Shiba, ADA, I don't care what it is, Dogecoin. It doesn't matter to me if it looks like this with not a stupid amount of inflation. Any dips are a blessing. So that's my opinions.
Oh yeah, no, I've been saying, I wasn't preaching buy the dip from April till June or even July, but then August I was like, now's the time.
Right.
dips are for buying, and Avalanche is one that, any of them. I mean, there's a lot of altcoins right now. There's very few that are still in downtrends. They're just either flat, which I'm fine with, as long as it's just not losing any more money on these altcoins, or they're in clear uptrends. And so, I've been thinking through a scenario, because I try to take into consideration every perspective that I could think of as to what's coming next. And there's somebody who, it's actually a female. Her name's Blockchain BB on X, has like 200,000 followers and everything. And I don't even know how I discovered her, but she's showing some Wyckoff schematics that are calling for a bottom of $44,000 in December, and then a move up to $80,000 in the middle of 2025. Do I think that's going to happen? No. But and then a huge crash, I think, to sub $30,000, and then after that in 2026, like 6-figure Bitcoin. And I was trying to think through. All right, let's just entertain me for a second. What would you do? And I'm going to answer this myself, but what would you do if she ended up being right? I personally, like, these altcoins are so bottomed out and so primed for moves higher that even if she's right, I'm not selling into that. I'm holding. I'll hold through that pain.
For sure.
I've loaded up. I'll hold through the pain because risk to reward is very much in our favor right now.
Right. Yeah. That's what I think. This is, this is what I think Bitcoin is doing, and I think that very much Bitcoin is in a completely different phase than the rest of the altcoins, and that's sort of how I teach things, is that Bitcoin is the sun. It goes first. It comes down the least during the bear market. It goes first, and then we start to see rotations. So that's kind of where most of the market is here in this sort of back test range. Somewhere in there, right? You had your sign of strength back test range. Bitcoin, in my opinion, is in the reaccumulation phase. And I don't think that there's a ton of juice left for Bitcoin, so to speak. But I do think that, 138K is sort of like where I think that we're going to get by. It could be 2026, but I think it's going to be 2025. To me, the time part of it is irrelevant. But if we were to get any dips, like beyond what would start to invalidate me would be starting to get below 52K, and I would have to reevaluate at that point. If we get any great dips from then, I would probably go heavier into Bitcoin.
Sure. Yeah.
But I don't think just where we're at, like sentiment wise, where most of the market, the thing that has me like really, like you kind of mentioned it, but just most of the market looks exactly like this right here. This is literally the total two. And this is the schematic of like what we're waiting for, kind of, you know what I mean? And also, what are we measuring it in? We're measuring it in a thing that is infinite. So could we get some dips? Sure. Are the straight lines and the squiggly lines going to be the always good forever? No, they're not going to be. Mm-hmm. But in the macro, I believe in this more than I believe in the dollar.
Oh, 100%. Sorry, I mean, you brought up total 2. I'm going to look at total 3 real quick. It's funny, as soon as we started co-hosting, like all my...
Here's the total 3. Even better.
Okay, you got total 3. Yeah, that's what I was thinking when you said total 2, is that total 3 looks stronger. And so what does that mean? That means Ethereum's underperforming the rest of the altcoins. But, you already pulled up Ethereum's chart. It looks strong. It's not anything that I have any interest in buying for any X amount of gains, because it's like the returns aren't going to be nearly as significant. It's, as most altcoins. So
real quick, let me do something here, because I keep like referencing this as the sort of standard of what I'm looking for, and my audience is sort of knows why, but I haven't sort of filled your audience in on why, outside of just Wyckoff schematics. But let me show you some examples of like how this actually plays out, right? So on the top we have the total 3, but it literally doesn't matter. We could replace it with anything. We could replace it with Dogecoin, anything that looks like this. All right. So on the bottom we have I don't know. Make sure you guys can see this good. So we talked about the schematics on how it plays out, right? Wyckoff invented this method over 100 years ago. I did not invent this method. And I like it so much because he has the fundamental understanding that the market are run by the apex predators. It's not run by the Joes and Schmoes. It's run by, the people with all the money. So that's the fundamental understanding, or the start of where you start with Wyckoff. So on the bottom we have render. On the top we have Doge market cap. It doesn't matter. Replace it with whatever coin looks like this with low to no inflation. So your markdown, your accumulation, your move to the upside, your LPS, your move to the upside, your LPS, your sign of strength, your back test of the prior range, your sign of strength, your back test of the prior range, your reaccumulation within the accumulation. This is render. And then boom, the next phase is your mark up phase. This is what most of the market is right here. Like 80% of the market is here. Another example is, what's another example? There's a few coins that, like Engine, I think, or maybe API 3. No, API 3 is not. I have a few coins that I could pull up to show you that, here we go. Engine, same thing. Markdown, accumulation, sign of strength, back test, boom. Big.
Yeah.
The next phase is your bull run. Mark up. That's what it's called, the same thing. So I'm buying coins that look like this. Period. As long as the key caveat, and this, is the inflation, right? So Filecoin looks like this, but Filecoin's not going to perform like that.
Nope.
There's lots of coins that look like this that aren't going to perform well because of the inflation. But yeah, there you go. That's that we did render, we did engine, but yeah, that's the there you go. That's any coin that looks like this. Most of the market is right here in that same sort of phase, and that's why I'm very confident of like that's what's next. Macro.
Yeah. Yep. And I mean the primary thing that's going to cause that to happen is just, as I'm sitting here and just thinking through all this, it's like, I have a lower Bitcoin target than you do. Perfectly fine. It doesn't matter. And I try to communicate that it doesn't matter, because we're going to follow the market. We're going to look for all the signs of the bull run happening and Bitcoin's dominance plummeting. It's like, that's the next thing, or that's one of the next things. That is the next thing.
Right.
And whenever that happens, it's going to be insane.
Someone said Jasmy prediction. What do you think about Jasmy?
I like Jasmy a lot. I mean, I bought a ton of it in the bear market. And so I bought it when it was at 0.3 of a penny. So even now, I'm up 6x on what I bought. Your target's probably higher than mine. I when it was at 0.3 of a penny, I had an 11.5 cent price target on it, and I would still say that that's my target. I've heard much higher predictions on Jasmy. I mean, a 236. Now that you've pulled up the fibs, I think that's 8 cents. So my prediction is barely going above the 236. What, the 382 or something?
All right, here's my problem with Jasmy, and
Okay.
maybe you would know better than me, but and I'm perfectly fine being wrong. But there seems to be a ton of inflation on Jasmy.
Yeah. So
And I think
I
think I'm going to load up in the bear market on Jasmy, but I don't know
Okay.
that it's going to perform well this market.
So 11.5 cents isn't anywhere near its all-time high.
Right.
But my Jasmine play throughout the bear market was always somebody's believing that this thing's going back to its all-time high, which is many, many X's from here. I'm going to ride along that wave, and then I'm going to exit way before any of them do, because Jasmine tokenomics from 2021 until now, it's abysmal. But from a certain point, of the last year or so, they're not highly inflationary anymore.
Yeah. So I think in the bear market, it's going to catch up. And what is the circulating supply? It's like 90-something% or something like that. Very, very like macro. I think it's very good, but in this micro, we have differing opinions because like I have the market cap right here, and this is basically the 1618. So this is the all-time high in 2021. 11/02 2021, and then we have this peak right here, very sneaky. What is this date? Let me try to get it exactly. Whatever. 6/6/2024. It got to 2 billion market cap, which is basically the 1618. But if we look at 6/6/2024, it's right here. It's this same peak, which market cap is basically here. Like it was a 10x is what it was. Higher. So this to me has already gotten to the 1618. So if there was no inflation, this should have already gotten to like 50 plus cents. So my target here, I'll just do it like this. For this cycle, let me just figure out the math from here to here, a 1x to back to the 1618 basically. And then from the 1618 to the 3618 is what? We got another. So maybe like a 2.5x. And that's
which is 6 cents.
6 cents.
Or 7 cents.
Yeah. So I could see it getting to maybe like 10 cents. So there you go. That's my thoughts. I'm a fan long term.
I mean, after all of that, we kind of agree because I said 11.5 cents, but you know, I was very much paying attention to the inflation. Speaking of inflation, Celestia, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Celestia, because people who've been following me know that I have a Celestia play. Now, what you have to be concerned about with Celestia, they have a huge unlock coming on October 30th.
What's the?
They're more than doubling their supply.
Ticker?
TIA.
Oh, TIA. Someone was asking me, Sui, goodbye right now. If you were my brother, I would tell you to start to take profits. But you do whatever your rank can handle. Because market cap on SUI is at the 2618 already right now. Maybe you got another 30%, and I would love to be wrong. I don't have a dog in the fight. But if you were my brother, I would tell you, this is what I would say. If you're my brother, you're my sister. I would say, they're like, hey, Devin, because my family doesn't call me YaBoySkey. Hey, Devin, what would you do with blah, blah, blah? I would say, well, I'm not a financial advisor, but I would just say, maybe consider taking your initial out, maybe guarantee a little bit of profit, and then swing for the fences with the rest. That's what I would say to do. I don't mind this, actually. This looks deep in accumulation. It hasn't gotten its sign of strength yet. The way that the accumulation is, it would probably put you somewhere around the $8 mark just for the sign of strength. Back test would take you probably back to about 630. So something like, boom, boom, and then get your reaccumulation. That's what I would say. Retracement, $11. $10, $11. I don't know what the inflation on this is like.
So that's what I was saying. Huge unlock coming on October 30th.
Oh, well, hopefully the moves happen before then.
So this happened with HBAR and with Algorand in 2021. They both hit their all-time highs in the middle of huge unlocks. Now, I'm not saying Celestia is hitting an all-time high. That wasn't the play for me. But what I was thinking is that there would be some market manipulation to drive the price higher before that, leading up to the unlock or on the day of the unlock. And then and my plan is to sell all of mine or most of it by October 30th.
Certainly could be the case, because my fundamental where I start with is right here. Where did this go? I don't want to. It's right at the. I'll just pull it down on this one. Whatever. How I do this is based off of this right here, which is the goat of trading, and you're saying that there might be some manipulation as this is happening, and I would argue that probably, certainly, definitely, and this is how I analyze the market. Just like Richard D. Wyckoff had the fundamental realization that stock price, because crypto wasn't a thing back then, were driven primarily by institutional and other large operators who manipulate stock prices in their favor. The game was rigged from the start, Jimbo. That's so yeah, definitely. I mean, I don't mind their chart at all, just technically. So yeah, I definitely could see at least a good size move for sure. XRP, $5 to $14 is my target for XRP.
I'm never not blown away by that when you say that. That would be amazing. It's just
all right, we'll do that real quick. I'll tell you why.
All right.
Here's why. So I don't have any targets. 0 targets are based off of hopium. 0 targets that I have are based off of joining a cult. If you want to join a religion, go to church. That's not what the religion of XRP. They did not get me. My targets are based off of TA, fundamental, supply, demand. I don't bat 1,000, but when I keep my emotions out of the game, I do pretty well for myself. So let's pull up Bitcoin on the top. We'll pull up a clean chart. And then we're going to pull up XRP on the bottom. Okay. And we're going to go on, we'll go on the 3-day. 3-day will be fine. So my theory, so this is not a clean chart. It's okay. Let's get rid of all this craziness. Was it alt reset? There we go. My theory is for XRP that, oh my God. Sorry. XRP is in a macro full cycle, right? So most of the market, or the Bitcoin, the cycle is 4 years. That's what everyone is aware of. But the bigger cycle at play, especially in the institutional realm, is the 7-year cycle. And we've talked about this a little bit, but you know, it has everything to do. Just quickly, 87 was the 7th year. That was Black Monday. 94, you had the bond market crash. That was the 7th year. 2001, the dot-com bubble busted, and 9/11 happened. That was the 7th year. 2008 was the great financial crisis. 2015 was the Chinese stock market. 2022, Luna went to 0, FTX went to 0, and the war in Israel kicked off. So 7-year cycle for the traditional banking sector, which is arguably, you know, XRP is the banker coin, right? But just technically, to me, this is what it looks exactly like Bitcoin does over the course of one full cycle. You have your parabolic rise, your crash down, your reaccumulation, your retrace, sign of strength, back test of the prior range, reaccumulation, and then mark up. Parabolic rise, reaccumulation, sign of strength to the 618. These are both to the 618. I could pull it, so you don't take my word for it. I promise it is, though, by the old gods in the new. 618. Backtest, reaccumulation, and the next phase would be your markup phase. Also, one thing that is interesting is when you look at XRP measured in Bitcoin, every time, and I have them circled, you can see they're both circled. Every time that XRP has gotten to this critical level, a minimum of a 7x has followed. Every time, sometimes more, but a minimum of a 7x has followed. And we have just hit it again. So does that mean that everything is everything and forever it will always be? No, it doesn't. But I think that XRP is the silver of cryptocurrency. Not that it's the second best, but if you don't know, silver is one of the most manipulated assets of all time. And
Yep.
I think the XRP is the same way, and it's going to be boring until it's not. So there you go. That's my thoughts.
Sounds good. um, Trying to think what else.
Do you own sand? I don't own any sand.
Yeah, me neither.
Bitcoin can go to 56K. It's possible. Anything within the range is possible. I don't think that that's likely, but it is possible. Right? So,
Joe says thanks. So I'm just reading a comment. Somebody said thank you for that. Yeah, that's a high or low. That's still in uptrend territory for Bitcoin.
yeah, and I don't live in fantasy land of like, oh, we're going to 589 and join. Do you have a minute to
Yeah.
talk to us about our Lord and Savior? No, that's not what I'm doing here. It's all based off of Fibonacci's supply demand Wyckoff. So there you go. It's not. I think $5 is pretty, conservative. I think, but there you go.
All right. Well, man, I was live for an hour plus before we started, and now it's been an hour and 10 minutes for me. So I'm running out of steam.
No worries,
But,
brother.
Yeah, we can be back on Friday of next week, and then, next time before we co-host, I'll set it up so that I'll be sharing my screen as well.
Sweet.
So
Yeah, every Friday, noon Eastern, unless something happens. Sometimes, we got families.
always things happen. We have
Things always
families.
happen. But generally, 80% of the time, every time, it works every time. We'll be live Friday at noon Eastern. And the replay, if you miss it, is going to be available on at least my YouTube. I don't know if you're going to post it or not, but it'll at least be available on my YouTube. So there you go.
Yeah.
Make sure you guys like, subscribe, follow us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. Neither one of us are going to message you first, for the love of God. If a YaBoySkey slides into your DMs, it's not me. It's some guy from Pakistan, Kakistan, somewhere else, and it ain't me. I love you guys, but I'm not going to message you first, all right? Don't get scammed.
All right.
We're not going to ask you for money.
That's right. Never.
All right, guys. Peace, love, prosperity. God first, God bless. I'm out.
See you guys.